Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Friday, January 1, 2021. Al Jazeera report. Yellen earned millions in speaking fees from Wall Street tech firms. President-elect Joe Biden's choice to be Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, collected more than $7 million in speaking fees over the past 2 years from top financial firms and tech giants including Citigroup, Goldman Sachs and Google, according to disclosure forms filed as part of her nomination. Yellen's was among 3 financial disclosures turned in by Biden transition officials that were made public on Thursday by the Office of Government Ethics.
BBC report. U.S. Congress overrides Trump defense spending bill veto. The Republican-controlled Senate held a rare New Year's Day session to debate the move, which had already been voted for by the House of Representatives. The $740 billion £549 billion bill will fund defense policy for the year to come. Mr. Trump, who leaves office in a few weeks, objected to certain provisions in the bill. The Senate voted 81-13 for the National Defense Authorization Act (NDAA). A 2/3 majority is required to override a presidential veto in both chambers.
Deutsche Welle report. Afghanistan. Gunmen kill prominent journalist and activist. Gunmen in western Afghanistan opened fire on the car of journalist Bismillah Adil Aimak on Friday, killing him but leaving others traveling in the vehicle unharmed, the spokesman for the governor of Ghor province said. No one has so far claimed responsibility for the killing. It is the latest in a series of killings of journalists in the past 2 months, with Afghanistan ranked as one of the most dangerous countries in the world for media workers by press freedom group Reporters Without Borders (RSF).
CNN report. Families of U.S. hostages and detainees look to Biden to keep up efforts to free loved ones. As President-elect Joe Biden prepares to take over from the outgoing Trump administration, the goal for the families of Americans unlawfully detained and held hostage abroad remains the same: to see their loved ones returned home. While some are holding out hope that progress could be made in the final 3 weeks of Donald Trump's presidency, the families are also now looking to the incoming administration to keep up the efforts to secure their relatives' freedom.
BBC report. Afghanistan violence. Bismillah Aimak is 5th journalist to die. Bismillah Aimak, the editor-in-chief of a local radio station, is at least the 5th journalist to be killed in Afghanistan in the past 2 months. According to Reporters Without Borders, Aimak survived at least one other attempt on his life months ago. Afghan rights campaigners and pro-government figures have also been targeted in a new and worrying trend. Many of the incidents go unclaimed by any militant group, but officials have accused the Taliban of being responsible for the majority of the killings.
Al Jazeera report. Iran tells IAEA it plans to enrich uranium to up to 20%. Iran has told the United Nations nuclear watchdog it intends to enrich uranium to up to 20% purity, a level it achieved before its 2015 deal with major powers at its Fordow fuel enrichment plant buried inside a mountain. Iran has informed the agency that in order to comply with a legal act recently passed by the country's parliament, the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran intends to produce low-enriched uranium up to 20% at the Fordow fuel enrichment plant, the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) said in a statement on Friday.
CNN report. U.S. defense officials divided over potential for Iranian attack on eve of grim anniversary. The U.S. flew nuclear-capable B-52 bombers to the Middle East Wednesday in the latest show of force meant to deter Iran, as defense officials remain divided over the risk posed by the regime and the Iraq-based militias it supports. Pentagon officials say the military muscle flexing is meant to warn Tehran off attacking American interests or personnel in the days surrounding the January 3rd anniversary of the Trump administration's assassination of the powerful Iranian leader Gen.
BBC report. First Minneapolis police death since George Floyd captured on bodycam. The victim, Dolal Idd, 23, was a suspect in a felony and was stopped by police on Wednesday. He was also black. Initial witness statements and police say Mr. Idd fired first and was shot dead when the officers returned fire. Minneapolis saw months of unrest after Mr. Floyd's death in police custody. The protests spread across the U.S. amid allegations of police brutality. Mr. Floyd died after a police officer knelt on his neck for nearly 9 minutes.
Fox report. Australia changes word in national anthem to honour Indigenous population. Canberra. Australia AP Australia has changed one word in its national anthem to reflect what the Prime Minister called the spirit of unity and the country's Indigenous population. Prime Minister Scott Morrison on New Year's Eve announced that the second line of the anthem, Advance Australia Fair, has been changed from For We Are Young and Free to For We Are One and Free. The change took effect Friday.
Al Jazeera report. Deaths, injuries reported during New Year's Eve celebrations. At least 11 people were killed and several injured during New Year's Eve celebrations across the world on Thursday. 8 young men and women were reported dead in a cottage in southwest Bosnia and Herzegovina, apparently from carbon monoxide poisoning during a New Year's Eve celebration, police said on Friday. Police responded to a call about 10 a.m. 09:00 GMT and went to a house in Trebistovo where several people were found dead.
CNN report. This might be the most valuable Hot Wheels car in the world. You can buy most Hot Wheels cars for about $1 at Target, Walmart or pretty much any local drugstore. But for Bruce Pascal, a nearly lifelong obsession with the tiny cars has turned into a collection of mind-boggling value. Pascal, a Washington, D.C. area commercial real estate executive, is the owner of what is believed to be the most valuable Hot Wheels car in the world. A 1969 version of the Beach Bomb Volkswagen bus estimated to be worth as much as $150,000.
Fox report. FDA surprise fee won't be enforced for distilleries that made hand sanitizer amid pandemic. A California distiller told Fox News the Food and Drug Administration's surprise $14,000 fine on craft distillers who switched to produce hand sanitizer amid the coronavirus pandemic felt like getting slapped for doing the right thing. The Department of Health and Human Services (HHS) just 2 days after the FDA's announcement said it is going to make sure it doesn't happen, which Aaron Berg, the president of Calwise Spirits in Paso Robles, told America's Newsroom he didn't expect.
Deutsche Welle report. Coronavirus alarm in France after 2,500 attend illegal rave. Police were unable to halt an illegal New Year's rave in northwestern France that saw about 2,500 partygoers in close contact, in direct violation of COVID-19 restrictions, local authorities said Friday. The rave occurred in Liéron, south of Rennes in Brittany, after clashes with police. Many of the ravers were still on the site on Friday as a sanitary cordon was placed around it. Local gendarmes said they tried to prevent this event but faced fierce hostility from many partygoers who set one of their cars on fire and threw bottles and stones.
Fox report. Minneapolis prosecutors in George Floyd trial seek delay, citing coronavirus. Prosecutors handling the Minneapolis case involving 4 former police officers charged in the death of George Floyd have asked that the trial be delayed by 3 months, citing coronavirus concerns, according to a report. In a recently filed court motion, prosecutors cited the COVID-19 pandemic and the amount of time needed before enough people are vaccinated and health risks are sufficiently diminished as their reason for the request, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune reported.
Fox report. Pope Francis pushes through back pain to give New Year's blessing. Pope Francis ushered in the new year on Friday with a traditional Angelus blessing from the papal library, pushing through nerve pain that forced him to skip New Year's ceremonies in St. Peter's Basilica. The Pope appeared relaxed as he stood at a lectern in the Apostolic Palace wishing the faithful watching via video a year of peace, a year of hope. He smiled into the camera as he repeated his customary sign-off, "Don't forget to pray for me," and wishing everyone a good lunch.
CNN report. McConnell called Hawley out over objecting to Electoral College vote during conference call Hawley wasn't on. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Thursday held a conference call with the Senate GOP conference in which he pressed Missouri Sen. Josh Hawley to explain the rationale behind his plans to object to the Electoral College vote. According to a source directly familiar with the call, Hawley did not respond to multiple questions from McConnell, including when asked to lay out his plan to object to the Electoral College vote, and senators soon recognized he wasn't actually on the call.
Deutsche Welle report. Ethiopian forces killed scores in June to July unrest, report says. Ethiopia's security forces were responsible for 76 deaths during the unrest following the killing of popular singer Hachalu Hundessa, a local human rights watchdog has found. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission (EHRC) said in a report published on Friday that Ethiopian security officers employed highly questionable force while trying to restore order. It also found evidence of ethnic violence and crimes against humanity amid the chaos.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.